as someone who smoked for over a decade, I don't care what anybody says, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The most threatening thing about smoking weed is the fact that, what's up guys? I'm Andy. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm just basically making these videos on documenting my journey into getting closer to Christ. It's been about a year and a half. So in this video, I'm gonna break down my uncomfortable, why I started smoking weed, how I got out of it, everything. I'm gonna explain it all, man. So basically, back when I'm 36 now, so back when I was 23, I started smoking because I felt incredibly burnt out from college. I was studying chemistry at the time, and I was working a part-time job, and I just felt actually depressed. And it was just burnout, and I was just exhausted. A buddy of mine at the time was like, hey, like, try this. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it, whatever. At the time, it felt great. I'm not gonna lie, at the time, it felt great. And just to give you more context on who I was as a person when I was 23, I was not the most social person when I was 23. I definitely was not. And the thing about weed was that it actually became a way for me to become a lot more social, because I was actually just in more group environments where it was just something to do socially. And even if we were just getting high and hanging out, I actually really enjoyed that. Yeah, so back then I was kind of justifying it because it was boosting me in a sort of social way, and I actually really liked that at the time. So over time, it just started becoming a habit, and it was just getting to a point where I couldn't wait to get off work and smoke weed. And it was just a thing where everything just felt so much more fun and exciting. So basically everything just felt a lot more fun and exciting when I was high. I'm not gonna lie, even just doing boring things now, all of a sudden were there's his hair. All of a sudden boring things became very interesting. It was a thing where even just cleaning my room or going on a bike ride or doing the chores or whatever it is around the house, like, everything became fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I didn't really think too much of it. And it was a thing where it was a socially acceptable thing. Here in Washington, it was legalized. And so it was accessible, and I didn't really think too much of it. And I was still able to live my life and go to work just fine, and I thought everything was normal at the time. I also really enjoyed just playing games. I've been quite a gamer in my day, and I don't really say that out of like pride or anything. I just say that because I know the lifestyle, I know the types of people, I know that gamer demographic. It's so relatable, man, trust me. So at the time, I love playing video games with my friends and getting high. Not gonna lie, it was a blast. Let me get into some of the negative side effects of it. What I noticed about myself was that when I wasn't high, I was a lot more irritable. Basically, tiny things that were annoyances became more annoying, and things that were even a little bit more annoying would actually get me kind of tilted, and I would actually feel anger. And I'm gonna tell you guys, like, I'm not an angry person. I'm really not. And I knew that was one of the first bad side effects of it, because I could tell that it was basically getting me out of character. I'm not even joking. Like, it was just some of the tiniest things would just be so annoying to me. And I could tell that irritability was being caused from me not being high. So it's one of those things where you'll get high and it feels great, but then you'll have some low lows too. And I think being prone to anger is one of those forms of the low lows. So it was starting to affect my mood. When I was smoking more often, I would notice like dark circles to develop under my eyes. Like, I don't know, you guys. Maybe I'm just being like self-conscious or whatever, but like right now, I kind of have a little dark circle thing going on just because it's probably because of the coffee. I don't know, maybe I'm tired and stressed. I don't really know, man. But back then it was actually a lot worse. Like right now, it's not bad. I'm gonna tell you, when I was smoking, it was a lot worse than this. And it's not a good look, man. One of my friends too was smoking at the time. And I remember we were entering someone's house, and the host, came up to him and he's like, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while, etc. Like, how you been, man?" And he looks at my friend, and he's like, "Bro, like you look really tired. Like, are you okay?" Oh, he's actually noticing that my buddy's been smoking a lot, and I don't think my buddy even knew either. He maybe, I'm not sure, but I actually vividly remember that. And he's like, "Bro, like, are you good? Are you okay? Like, you look tired." And he's like, "No, like I got 8 hours of sleep. I feel perfectly fine." Like, no, why would you say that? His dark circles got really bad. Another side effect was my speech started becoming slower. I was talking a lot slower. I would have this kind of lag time. Like, I'm not like that fluid when I talk. Sometimes when I watch like other YouTubers and stuff, they're just so good at talking, and I'm sometimes just in awe when I'm just listening to some of these people talk, because it's just like, wow, like how can they link so many ideas together like so fluidly? I don't know. You guys can tell me if I'm talking okay. I don't know. When I was actively smoking a lot, lag time between how I was thinking, like it was literally making me think slower. I could tell with just how I was processing things. When people would ask me something, it would just take me just that extra like split second, half second, full second to just respond to them. Your alertness goes down. You're basically, my cognitive ability at the time was taking a hit, and I didn't really realize it, but I could notice it with myself, because you know yourself pretty well, right? And then, after many years, I would sometimes just get high every day. I'd get high. I'm not even joking. I'll get high every day, and I could tell that my memory was just getting fuzzy. I could tell that the days were just starting to blur and blend together, and my memory just wasn't very clear. If anyone is still smoking these days, and you guys know what I'm talking about, there's this clarity that gets clouded when you've just been smoking every day for months on end, experiencing that for sure. I know what that feeling feels like. And it depends on the strain, certain sativa indica strains. I would get really in my head. I would get almost lost in thought sometimes. I would just sort of sit there and just think about random crap. And it was these kind of couch potato stereotypes come from. The couch potato stereotype, I think, is also more indica strain related when it comes to actually kind of locking your body in the couch, where it's a much more immobilizing kind of paralysis that you're putting on your body, because it's more of a body high. I'm actually talking more about it's more of the sativa head highs, where you're just imagining things and thinking about stuff, and nothing is happening. You're just sort of sitting there like, whoa. As someone who smoked for over a decade, I don't care what anybody says, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The most threatening thing about smoking weed is the fact that it keeps you content and it keeps you comfortable. He's really big on sort of the business aspects of all the back end things that happen between like marketing agencies and the actual influencers and teams on this whole gaming universe. There's no one really like Devin Nash. I actually really like his channel. Go check him out if you're interested in like those kinds of things. He was talking about weed, and I think he was actually referring to somebody else. I think he was actually quoting somebody else. I forget how this was actually conveyed, but basically on his stream he was talking about how when the moment someone starts smoking weed, that they basically get time frozen from whenever they started, and then they're basically that age until they stop. And when he said that, I was like, oh wow, that's actually me. I think I was like 30 years old when I heard that stream from Devin. And when he said that, that hits really hard. I started smoking at 23. He's right. I was basically the same 23-year-old. So basically what Devin was talking about in that stream was the moment somebody starts smoking weed, they get put in basically like a time capsule. Like they get time frozen. They remain that age until the end of, like, until they stop or until whatever their current age is. They're essentially still that same age. Look, man, everyone has aspects about themselves that they don't like. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has something that they would want to work on about themselves, or just things that they're trying to work towards. And the thing about weed is that it will just inhibit your ability to get those things done. And because it just gets you comfortable. Like, you'll be content in your situation. Even if people are in very nasty situations, man. When people don't have Jesus in their life, I get it. People are in tough situations. Taking a hit of weed is not really a big loss for them. And dude, I completely understand. It's like you're putting a ball and shackle on yourself. You're putting a very big inhibitor on yourself. It can be any form of ingestion, right? So whether it be edible, vaping, oil, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is, flour, oil, some candy thing, it doesn't matter. When you are content and comfortable, you are okay with pain. Because weed is sedating, people are in bad situations and hurting, the weed makes it feel as if they're fine when they're actually not. And that's so crucial. It deceives you. It takes the pain away. It's like a numbing. It's like a Band-Aid. You're not really getting to the root core of the problem. You're constantly just putting a Band-Aid on this deep flesh wound. You think everything is fine, but it's like, bro, that flesh wound is gonna keep bleeding over and over and over again. A Band-Aid isn't gonna do that. Isn't your long-term solution. I think you guys get that, right? Dude, it's like opportunity cost. There were moments in my life where I needed to act and I didn't. And there were moments where I needed to be proactive and I didn't. And cannabis was definitely a variable in the mix. It definitely was. And it inhibits your ability to sometimes talk or to speak up, or that's honestly how I felt. And the thing is, man, it's opportunity cost. It's like, you want to get high and you want to feel comfortable and content and in your comfort zone. But bro, you have no idea. You could have been opening a door that could have been life-changing, but you decided to get high instead. There's a lot of things that you could be doing, but instead you're choosing your time to spend on the couch or whatever it is, zoned out, video games or whatever it is, man. The thing about opportunity cost and time is the fact that the older you get, the more you understand how precious your time is. When you're younger, I would argue that a lot of people in their 20s don't actually, y'all don't really have a good grasp of actual time. I'm just gonna be honest. In terms of like long-term perspective time, I was the same way. Dude, when you're in your 20s, you're essentially immortal. And, and it feels like you can just sort of rule the world, you know? And I know that feeling, man, and I'm not trying to say that I'm so much older than you and I'm so much more wiser than you. It's, ask anyone in their 30s and 40s, man. Time is precious, and it is such a shame when you're spending your time just getting high and not really doing a lot, dude. Like, it is a big waste, and you're never gonna get that time back. I'm just saying, man. People who use it medicinally. Look, man, I'm not a doctor, okay? So in my opinion, I think there's very few edge cases where weed is used medicinally properly. And I think that in those cases where the cannabis is actually alleviating some pain point in the body, I think that's fine. If it's such a pain that it's inhibiting their ability to function as a person, like on day to day, then I think that that's fine. But there's a really big gray area there, right? Because a lot of people have these like medicinal marijuana cards and stuff like that, but they're still using it recreationally. So how much are you really using it for your pain points? Whether it be, because some people use it for anxiety, which I can totally understand. Weed does affect people differently. So with some people, it might alleviate their anxiety, but with other people, it might actually induce anxiety into them. I think medicinal users are very minority edge cases, and I think I'm speaking the majority to people who are just using it recreationally. Okay, and y'all are just getting high. Just the reason it messes you up is the fact that it completely fries your reward centers in your brain. It's gonna take more stimulus to make you feel rewarded. And what weed is doing is that you're overloading your brain with dopamine. You're conditioning your brain to always feel rewarded in situations where you might not actually deserve the reward, if that makes any sense. So it's like, so the more you get high, the more your brain gets conditioned to that state. And then when you're not high, that's when it feels like it's almost like some misery. It's like some torment, that everything is so boring. Bro, I know that feeling so well. I know that feeling so well, man. Raise your hand, anybody who smokes, is still smoking or whatever it is, man. When you're not high, sometimes that feeling of just boredom, bro, I know that. And there's chemical imbalances in your brain. You're basically used to being rewarded all the time. So you're never really gonna be doing anything that's gonna feel rewarding. That's the problem, that you're never gonna feel rewarded. That's where the misery comes in. Well, it's like, oh, why bother doing anything, right? And that's another really big trap of it. And I'm not for it, man. It really messes you up. Cannabis consumption messes up your reward centers, and it causes like chemical imbalances in your brain. And the thing about it, man, is that you're thinking, oh, Andy, like, what's the big deal really though? Okay, I don't care. Well, then I'll still smoke and whatever. But dude, I'm gonna tell you, most of the world is boring. You're not doing that many exciting things on a day-to-day basis. You're not. Let's be honest. Don't let social media and this crap magnify things way out of proportion. Dude, social media and these things, these are just highlights of people's lives. I know you're not traveling every day to some vacation spot or something, right? I know you're not going to a concert every single day. I know you're not doing X, Y. Dude, most people's lives are boring. That's fine. People that still smoke and are having a difficult time with that, let me tell you, man, from experience, get used to it. Get used to boring stuff, because that is life. Most of the time, people do boring things. That's it. What? You're spending a third of your life sleeping, you're eating, you're taking a shower and brushing your teeth and doing work. Bro, that's not that fun. It's not really like that exciting. And that's the thing, is like, not everything has to be so fun and interesting and exciting. That's my point. Somewhere around 32, where I just completely stopped smoking. And the thing what actually got me to stop, it was actually my job at the time. And I was basically in these corporate environments where I didn't like being slow when responding to my boss. That was actually one of the things. It's like when I'm engaging with coworkers, when I'm relaying information to my managers, to my boss, I didn't like this lag time that I had when I was explaining things. I didn't like that aspect about myself. So there was this kind of conflict where I liked smoking after work, but then during work, there were still these like residual effects from me smoking from the night before. Dude, yeah, I'll still kind of feel the effects of it, really. I just didn't like not being able to think fast, not being able to regurgitate information quickly. I wasn't completely focused. I felt like I was getting a little bit more distracted when I was at work, and so it wasn't completely affecting my work, but I could tell it was kind of creeping in, and I didn't like that. And at the time, I did not have Jesus in my life too. I want to add that even when I quit, I did not have Jesus in my life. And now that Jesus is in my life, I definitely don't want it. I am staying so far away from cannabis, man. People offer it to me. I try to be very sincere about it. No, thank you, man. I'm good. Like, in the back of my head, I'm like, get that away from me. I'm not even joking, dude. Look, man, when it comes to the cannabis demon, I knew that guy well, and I'm glad. I'm glad I don't want to interact with that guy, dude. In the Bible, I'll put the Bible verse up on the screen somewhere. It talks about to stay vigilant and to stay sober. And the thing about weed, man, is that it's actually very potent. Comparing weed to something like alcohol, it's possible to drink a beer or two or three or whatever it is, or have a little bit of wine and still feel a buzz and not be completely drunk. When it comes to cannabis, in my opinion, it's either you're high or you're not. But yeah, I mean, me quitting was definitely more my job than it was Jesus. So I just want to make that clear. But when Jesus now is in my life, I don't want to do it. I'm good, bro. I'm good. To clarify, me quitting weed at 32 was the best breakthrough that I had done on my own. I didn't have Jesus in my life at the time. The first major breakthrough in my life was having Jesus enter my life. And then the second biggest breakthrough in my life was quitting weed. Easily. Those two things are the biggest level ups in my life by far. It's not even close. Nothing else comes close to those two things. And I'm so happy. I'm not even joking. I'm the best I've ever been. And I feel like I keep getting better. And I just have Jesus to thank for that. For people who are still smoking and want to quit, what I tell people is try to just incrementally slow down on it, just very casual, like very gradually. So when it comes to oil, you have a little bit more work to do because that's even more concentrated. You want to incrementally just slow your consumption over a long period of time. That, in my opinion, is the safest and most reasonable way to quit weed. And then that's how I quit. Until you're just going many days and weeks without smoking and it's not bothering you. And trust me, like, count the days. You gotta celebrate your wins, man. Trust me, man. As someone who smoked for over a decade, you gotta count your wins. Even if you go 2 days without smoking, even if you go 2, 3, 4 days without smoking, a week without smoking, that is a win. Count your wins, man. And pretty soon, dude, the more you're busy and the more you're active with things, and most importantly, if you have Jesus in your life, man, you could probably quit even faster. That's the thing, dude. If you give your life to Jesus, dude, he can clean you up. He can clean you up quick. But again, it's gonna take work on your end too. You know, getting closer to Jesus. This is not some magic pill that you take overnight and all of a sudden all your problems are gone, right? It's like, I hope that's pretty much it, man. I mean, that was my whole spiel on weed. I'll probably put a video floating around over my head somewhere at this timing to give you guys something else to watch. But yeah, man, like, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.